Look, I was an independent during the time of Reagan-Bush.
What's my view? I'm a conservative through and through.
I'm someone who is moderate and that my views are progressive. I'm not questioned on character or integrity very often.
If you're looking for someone who's never changed any positions on any policies, then I'm not your guy. I'm not your guy.
Experts are predicting kind of a tough fight between Romney and his biggest ideological opponent, Mitt Romney from 4 years ago. Those guys don't agree on anything.
There are a lot of reasons not to elect me. I'm not convinced that a state would be better off with all Republicans. As a matter of fact, I've been in a state like that for the last 3 years. It's not a good thing.
I think people recognize that I'm not a partisan Republican, that I'm someone who is moderate and that my views are progressive.
Where are you politically in the labeling business?
I'm a conservative through and through.
Look, I was an independent during the time of Reagan-Bush. I'm not trying to return to Reagan-Bush.
The principles that Ronald Reagan espoused are as true today as they were when he spoke them.
There you go again.
It's always a burden for someone to run with R for Republican after their name.
I lived in a place that had a one-party state. It was primarily Republican. I thought, well, won't that be nice? The answer is no.
Aren't you connected to the Republican Party in the state of Massachusetts?
Well, the only connection is I'm registered as a Republican.
Very clear, I think, to people across the Commonwealth that my R doesn't stand so much for Republican as it does for reform.
I'm not running as the Republican view or a continuation of Republican values.
I'm not questioned on character or integrity very often.
I believe that abortion should be safe and legal in this country. I believe that since Roe v. Wade has been the law for 20 years, that we should sustain and support it. And I sustain and support that law and the right of a woman to make that choice.
I would like to see, for instance, Roe v. Wade overturned. I will preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, and am devoted and dedicated to honoring my word in that regard. I believe people understand that I'm firmly pro-life. So when asked, will I preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, I make an unequivocal answer, yes.
I never really called myself pro-choice.
I do not take the position of a pro-life candidate. I'm in favor of preserving and protecting a woman's right to choose. And your effort to continue to try and create fear and deception here is unbecoming.
What's your position on abortion?
I'm pro-life.
When I'm governor, and I'm convinced I will be, I will preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, and all the confusion you try and throw on this issue is doing nothing to help people.
I'm a pro-life governor. I am a pro-life individual. And I have to be honest here. It is, this is not the time to be doubting people's words.
On the question of the choice issue, I have supported the Roe v. Wade. I am pro-choice. My opponent is multiple choice.
My own view is, consistent with what you saw in the Lowell Sun, that those people who have come here illegally and are in this country, the 12 million or so that are here illegally, should be able to sign up for permanent residency or citizenship. We can't talk about amnesty. We cannot give amnesty to those who come here illegally.
The central issue is that people who are here illegally should not be prohibited, should be able to apply for permanent residency or citizenship. That should not be prohibited.
We do have tough gun laws in Massachusetts. I support them. I won't chip away at them.
Now, as governor, I worked closely with the NRA and the Gun Owners Action League to advance legislation that expanded the rights of gun owners in my state.
I support the Second Amendment. I purchased a gun when I was a young man. I've been a hunter pretty much all my life. I'm not a big game hunter. I made it very clear. I've always been, if you will, a rodent hunter, all right, small varmints, if you will, and have hunted those kinds of varmints since then, more than 2 times. But I've hunted a number of times of various types of small rodents.
Any sportsman will tell you that ain't hunting.
That's pest control.
Bonjour, je m'appelle MITT Romney et je suis président du comité d'organisation des Jeux Olympiques d'hiver.
I want universal coverage. I want everyone in Massachusetts and in this country to have insurance. I want everyone in Massachusetts and in this country to have insurance.
Well, that's what we did in Massachusetts, and that is we put together an exchange, and the president's copying that idea. I'm glad to hear that. Obamacare is bad news, and if I'm president of the United States, I will repeal it.
Flip-flop MITT.
But I believe the world is getting warmer. I believe that humans contribute to that.
We raised fees by about $240 million. We were able to balance our budget in a very difficult time without raising taxes.
A fee's not a tax?
If it were a tax, it'd be called a tax.
That's gimmick.
It's reality. I'm not trying to hide from the fact. We raised fees. $240 million.
Governor Romney, as president, would you have signed the National Defense Act as written?
Yes, I would have, and I do believe that it's appropriate to have in our nation the capacity to detain people who are threats to this country. But I don't think he's going to abuse this power, and I know that if I were president, I would not abuse this power. I have never supported the President's Recovery Act, all right, the stimulus. No time, nowhere, no how have I supported the President's stimulus. I think there is need for economic stimulus. Americans have lost about $11 trillion in net worth, and government can help make that up in a very difficult time. TARP got paid back, and it kept the financial system from collapsing.
So you feel it was well worth it?
Well, it was the right thing to do. TARP ought to be ended. TARP ought to be ended. I know a lot of my fellow conservatives aren't happy with me that I supported the plan. I don't call it a bailout. I call it a rescue plan.
This is not the time to be doubting people's words or questioning their integrity. I'm not questioned on character or integrity very often.
A good chunk of his funds came from his buddies on Wall Street, like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Bank of America.
To get that kind of money, you've got to cozy up as an incumbent to all of the special interest groups who can go out and raise money for you from their members. That kind of relationship has an influence on the way you're going to vote.
My investments are not made by me. My investments for the last 10 years have been in a blind trust, managed by a trustee.
The blind trust is an age-old ruse, if you will, which is to say you can always tell the blind trust what it can and cannot do. You give a blind trust rules,